Welcome to another thrilling episode of Instant Discussions.
I did that.
Tonight, we shall discuss
Ip Man.
Ip Man.
Ip Man.
Yes.
I think it's our first karate film that we've done.
Yes. Introduce ourselves to the podcast again, I guess.
Hmm?
Introduce ourselves for the podcast. I realize that you have to say your own name or else then you don't know.
Oh yeah, I'm Steffan.
I'm Tony.
And by default, I'm John.
Default.
What's his nickname?
Yep.
His board name, Default.
So, Ip Man, Steffan, your choice.
Yeah.
Discuss
Oh man,
this.
this movie's so cool.
Can I say something real quick? I didn't understand why you chose it.
What?
It was an okay film, but like there was nothing special to me about it. I was surprised after watching it.
Tony, that's interesting. You said that. It's interesting. We'll discuss that. I'm gonna say.
We'll discuss it later when we're talking about Ip Man.
Yeah. I want to hold off on your not liking it because.
Because Steffan picked it. You don't like it, so.
No, that's not why.
You're just doing that. You're playing up the rivalry between the two.
No,
You cannot agree on films.
No, because you've had other stuff that were like I could understand why people liked it.
I see why some people could like this. I mean, for instance, people can have mental disabilities. Someone could have gotten in a horrible accident and they're half their
Like
brains.
you chose Chinaman, right? That was yours, right? You chose Chinaman, right?
Chinaman?
What's it called? Chinatown. It's so big. Like I could totally see. Like okay, I get it. I don't know.
Okay, but anyway, let's.
Yeah, Chinatown didn't have that many Chinese people in it compared to this one.
Well, this was actually based on an actual person.
That's the thing. Okay.
Named Yip Man. Well, it's pronounced Ip Man, but it was with a Y.
Yeah.
In the I.
Interesting. The movie was directed by Wilson Yip.
Oh. Probably a son.
Maybe.
Of Yip Man.
Maybe it should check. Here's an interesting thing with this. So, when I started watching this movie, all I knew about this movie it was about kung fu.
Right.
That was pretty much it.
I think you guys it was a 4.
But I also I had known before. I had heard something about him like having instructed Bruce Lee.
He is Bruce Lee's instructor.
So, but I just had not really remembering that too much. I knew that in my mind, but wasn't really thinking too much about that. Didn't know what kind of film it was, whether it was a documentary or a film, narrative
film.
Yeah,
whether it was a documentary or
a concert. But so I'm watching the movie that's got starting out with a bunch of kung fu fighting and all that cool stuff.
Yeah.
It was in the fight with the out-of-towner.
Yeah. Was it when the out-of-towner came to challenge?
Well, during
schools, or?
Yeah, during that fight with Ip Man was when I was remembering. Oh, wait a sec, because it was all this crazy like people flying up and this crazy fights and all that. And at that moment, I was thinking, wait a second, isn't this based on a true story? Because most of the times I'm watching these kung fu movies, and any kung fu movie, I generally like kung fu movies. However, only to like a certain point. Like the best they can do with me is 3 stars, but that's still a great, like, it had great action in it, and the story was kind of decent, but overall it usually falls apart because it mostly just has the great action, and the story is an excuse to do the great action.
Yeah.
They recently had one, The Man with the Iron Fists, which I thought was fun, but the story in that kind of fell flat, and a lot of movies are like that for kung fu for me, so that's what it started out as, kind of like that. So at that fight...
So you'd say karate films, kung fu movies, are actually one of the lower rated movies for you?
Generally. But the thing is, it's not, they have a limit to be, but they're more in that mid-range, because even like the lower ones, if it still has some good action stuff in it, I still like it. I'll still enjoy it, but it's just... it doesn't really. It usually.
I think I can see what you're saying because like a lot of kung fu movies generally like they don't go above and beyond.
No, they don't. They're big generalizations.
It's generally like just it was a good movie.
I feel like most kung fu movies, it's a kung fu movie with a story instead of a story with the kung fu movie.
Yeah, a story that happens to have kung fu in it as well. And this one had some great fights in it, and that was really cool to watch that. What I liked about his style in the beginning, in the first fight that you see. In the very
that's it.
Alright. In his very first fight, I liked that his style was more defensive, and his main thing is the other person.
The fight with the other teacher.
Yeah, his first one, he's very defensive and very subtle and getting in his hits.
Yeah.
Or just even saying the hits. And throughout those first fights, he still kept that basic style. He's mostly going to defend, and then once they've let him, he left himself open.
Yeah, when they have the opening, just he goes for it.
So he's very reserved and peaceful about it, and he reminded me a lot of my Tai Chi instructor from college, who was he had started teaching at UCLA at 15.
Okay.
And so that's one of the only words I recognized of them saying was sifu.
I love seafood.
I hate seafood. Yeah, opposites.
Well, I think
the word for master. So I was recognizing that one in there because of that. But he reminded me of that.
I went to fist bump and you didn't.
Because you're opposites.
Yeah.
You should like high five the fist bump.
Yeah, you should.
But going back to that though,
Yes.
it is they're kind of close with how you said the Tai Chi though, because it's about the conservation of energy.
Yeah. Well,
And
a lot of
that's
those
why
Tai Chi moves are fighting moves or defensive moves, especially just slowed down extremely. And you see them when a few of them are practicing their moves. They're doing those moves, and then you just speed them up and do all that craziness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it was so during that third fight.
Which one was the third one?
I'm thinking like the third main fight. I don't know if 3. I lose track. But the out-of-towner fight. The big one in his house. And that was when I started thinking, okay, I remember that it's based on real life, because before that it's just, to me, like a fantasy kung fu movie. Appropriate timing, because right after that is when it hits you with the dialogue of when Japan...
Sino-Japanese War #2.
Yes. And, everything goes down, and it gets really real. and he goes from being this, fun kung fu movie. He's like, oh, you should be a master, or you should teach a class. He's like, I don't need to teach a class. No, it's fine.
Rumors about, man, beat this teacher.
Which,
you ruined my reputation.
Yeah, which he could. I get why he's ruining the reputation, because if someone can beat him, then then no one's gonna take a class from him.
Well, beat him horribly. Like there was
the way that he beats him.
Didn't even get a hit.
But that whole beginning sequence to me, it just seemed really like corny-ish.
Well, that's kind
Even
of
the
what I was
acting
going
was
for.
like corny too.
It's tough for me to tell acting in foreign films.
That can be a little hard with like corny and whether that's...
A lot of the subtitles went really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like
The
catching
translation
words
was
like
off
you-
with the Chinese.
It wasn't exact translation, but I think they translated it for the words. See, whether or not you're being serious on that, I could tell because of the few words that I did know. I was able to tell, they're not doing word for word, which is good, because if you just do it word for word, it's not going to make sense. Just do a Battlefish translation of it.
They were speaking Mandarin, right?
I thought Cantonese only because
I thought Cantonese too because
they were in Canton.
Do you guys know
Oh,
Chinese?
okay. Well, because I know how to count. And
Of this many words.
and when they said the numbers,
damn.
when they said the numbers, I was like, that doesn't sound.
I believe they're Canton. Well, he said that he was in Canton.
Well, I only knew how to count.
But everybody speaks Mandarin, so I was wondering, wait,
Mandarin.
why does it sound?
Mandarin's one that I know more people who speak Mandarin, but in here they were speaking. I believe it was Cantonese only because they were from Canton, but they could have been speaking Mandarin in Canton. That line came up in there where they were. So that was what I was saying. Why it seemed kind of. I forgot that it was a true story because those first fights with the wire fighting and stuff. Once you have pulled people on wires and things, and it gets you know that it's not just straight fighting and them filming that. Then it takes you a little out of it.
I liked the beginning of it. I mean, there were small amounts of conflict, and then when the stranger arrived, it got up the ante and everything. And I think it was really good because it was setting a nice because it was gonna go so
at the beginning it was fun. That was where the best that a normal kung fu movie can get for me.
It was the best you can do with exposition, kung fu.
Yeah,
how can you?
You're doing a good job at a kung fu movie.
Yeah. To me, it's very anime-ish because you started with them and then you kind of worked your way up until you had to take out what's his name?
Do you like anime?
Yeah, I love anime.
No, I don't hate anime. It's for me, anime is just another category with movie genres. I don't care. There's good ones and there's
there's good and there's horrible.
Yeah.
But after that moment, it turns from a kung fu movie into more like Schindler's List.
Are you gonna compare Schindler's List?
I am only because of you've got the people being oppressed, and then you've got the factory of people to save the factory of people.
Okay, well,
in order to save them.
There's no
Kids version of
there's no
Schindler's
little
List.
kids in the toilet with people shitting on them.
The things that were I'm saying not necessarily what's going on in this film, but all of the stuff that you know from history that's going on in China.
There's so many atrocities going on that they did not show you close to what they were doing.
And they didn't. I don't think they needed to in this story. This is a very micro story. They're not showing, and that's why it's not like Schindler's List where they show the scoping.
That's another thing that was corny to me
thing.
because the Japanese were treating them like with a certain amount of respect. I was like, oh, I'm not buying
It was
this.
odd in that thing. But I don't know. I wasn't in that time, but it was. It wasn't the worst. They didn't show the worst of the things that were being done at the time. So
well, I mean that's like any film war film.
it was like this is a personal movie about one person.
If there's no rape, they're not showing you the worst. Like
exactly.
That's the thing.
Like that's.
When I watch any war film,
like
you never see any rape in war films. Like rarely.
it gets close to that.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah,
going back to the beginning,
stops him though, like down the stairs.
To that changeover.
No, you're dead, son.
They almost, they almost got to a rape in this one. As soon as he says, your wife is pretty, and then he's like, no,
stairs, no.
cuts that off quick. Plus, he has a gun to his kid and going bang bang.
Oh yeah,
That was so cool.
Oh, that was a great scene.
I like that.
Yeah.
But so going back to that changeover, right away one of the things that I thought that was weird was the Foley work. Because they showed the Japanese people marching, and then I swear that they must have taken that straight out of Star Wars. I was like, that does not sound like that. And then there's the flags going, and there's like a bunch of flags, but it sounded like there was two. Like the Foley work wasn't the best. I don't know if you guys were listening to the Foley work.
Not in that scene. I can't remember. I was trying to think if there was some Foley stuff I was noticing in the film.
Just exaggerated things too.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's kung fu though.
Again, you're telling the story, and it delves into these historical events, but it's still being an entertaining kung fu movie, and that's kind of where you get the things of the people that he's trained over time, and the legacy that's come out of Bruce Lee, kind of putting that into here with the legacy of kung fu movies that have come out, and putting that back into its roots and its origin in here. So I think that could be why they chose to do that. Which I think it worked for me in that if it was just a straight documentary thing, it might not have been as entertaining as getting in a fun kung fu movie that then also happens to be real. And they don't really say. I don't think they said in the beginning based on a true story.
They didn't. I didn't know until the very end. I was like when they started showing the pictures. I was like, wait a second, is this based on a true story? I was like, what?
Surprised.
I knew right when they started going. I'm like, oh, they're gonna bring up Bruce Lee for sure.
Yeah.
And then it came up, and I was like, oh, that's like their go-to. It's like Bruce Lee. But that's Chinese. That's the Chinese go-to.
Well,
you got Bruce Lee. Hey.
He's got top Bruce Lee.
It's that Family Guy thing of the impersonators. Hey, it's Bruce Lee. Hey, it's Bruce Lee. Hey, it's Bruce Lee. Hey, look, Tom Cruise. Hey, it's Tom Cruise. Every white person, Tom Cruise.
Oh, and why did they use a Puerto Rican as a Japanese general?
And there's Morgan Freeman.
I was like, what the heck?
Was he?
What? Wait, what?
I didn't look up the credits.
Wait.
I just think he said a Puerto Rican was the Japanese general.
I don't know if he's Puerto Rican, but I was like, this guy does not look Japanese.
This is an interesting thing because they did that.
The general.
Yeah, there were some people there, but however, I attributed it to, especially the out of counter guy also didn't look Chinese, but it's only because I just watched Arrested Development. Where they had, stuff with similar things. I'm not gonna say, but similar stuff. So anyway,
I'm like, no, let's not go there. This isn't for us.
Well, but it was just an odd choice for the Japanese general. I was like, I don't know.
I don't think, but he wasn't. It's just I thought the Japanese general was fine.
Yeah, I did too. It didn't.
Yeah.
He just didn't look Japanese to me.
I don't know. That's not racist, I guess.
It's not racist. He just doesn't look Japanese. There's people who look Japanese.
He didn't look like everyone.
What about the black afro guy? Like the Bruce Lee movie.
The what?
The black guy with an afro in the Bruce Lee movie. He doesn't look fucking Japanese or Chinese.
Well, I would say the same thing. But saw some black dude who look Chinese.
We didn't have any of that in this movie. Yep.
Ni hao.
No Afro Kung Fu.
Afro Samurai.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the beginning worked, so that was good.
Yeah,
and the middle was just like, oh man, I don't know. Like I felt like this is totally like the whole revenge film.
It is. That's the thing about his fighting style. When
So good.
he didn't want to go to the fights just to win a bag of rice because to him the potential.
He just wanted to kick their ass.
Well, no. At first, when they were first taking people in, and he refused to go.
Yeah.
That was like
cause trouble. Like
he didn't want to cause trouble. He was.
Don't want to be involved.
He doesn't like what's happening to the Chinese people. However, he's not putting his life at risk for the bag of sacrifice. Instead, doing the day-to-day tasks in the safer way to get what he can for his family. So I think in that way it was smart because the other ones are risking to get that. But when he finally does go, he's not going for the rice. He's going for the revenge. He's then filled with anger, and his fighting style.
He wants to find out what happened to Lin.
Yeah.
Well, at first, and then he sees that they shoot the other guy.
Which didn't happen before, but then he automatically assumes that they would have done that to him because instead, like Lin, it was his choice to keep fighting until he was beaten near death or dead.
Yeah, that's kind of dumb.
And that was I don't know. He's defending himself. He doesn't want to.
Well, the thing is
he didn't want. Yeah, he didn't want to give up without a fight, and he has to go out.
And on top of that, like it's either that or like what's the situation he's going to go back to? You know, like
yeah,
but he's still going to get rice. He could have distributed that to people who needed it.
Yeah, but if he
had the rice ready to go,
if he had had a family, it would have been a different thing. So that's why when Ip Man does fight, he's now risking not providing for his family, but he's so filled with revenge. It's kind of the same thing when in the beginning he ignored his family trying to practice. So he still
that wife was kind of a bitch, and then he was kind of a dick too.
They were both. They were
but
both.
He's like, oh, here's your dad, and this is what he does for like a living or whatever. This is why you get respect.
He doesn't do it for a living.
No, this is how he gets his respect. This is how we get our stuff.
This
is how we, like this is us. Like this is why we're so prestigious in this town. But he can't look at that 5 minutes later. That picture. No, just. No, go give it to him now. I was like, really?
I don't know. He still seemed to be ignoring his family more than he needed.
I thought that was the point where I felt I saw the coldest out of it, man. It was the point with the picture and the kid, where it's just all like I can't remember.
Now to one end,
completely just ignore your kid like that.
No, you're like, I'm in the middle of something. Like I'll be there 5 minutes. You can wait. You can learn patience. Like that annoyed me. And his wife's like, me. I have all this nice stuff. I have the nicest place in the whole town, and we get free shit all the time because of how badass you are. But no, go bug your dad right now. Can't wait 5 minutes.
But the thing is, like, but the drawing was a drawing of the father doing karate.
It was a shitty drawing too.
It was a bad drawing.
It was horrible.
Who cares?
He was even
I know.
When your child was 5 and he drew a shitty drawing, where you're all like, oh, tear it out. This is horrible, son. You gotta get better.
No. I'm just saying the amount of praise that was given to the son before by the other guy was
wow,
like,
that's
a great drawing. It's like, that's a good drawing, fine, but that's a great drawing. Like,
maybe that was one of those. Maybe that's one of those times where
there's a translation error. Because then they show the drawing and you're like, that's a pretty terrible. Like, the age of that kid, he could have drawn a little better than that. Come on, they have good art in China. I'm sure he could draw better than that.
See, I'd love to check that moment again to see if the adults laugh and the children don't.
Maybe,
because even if the adults have the smallest reaction, it might have been just sarcasm, but kids don't get sarcasm, you know? Like,
maybe.
Really young kids.
Yeah, it's a little disappointing.
I thought it was going to be a lot better when I saw it. I was like, oh god, really?
Yeah, they built up the drawing too much.
It built it up so much, I was like, this is going to be beautiful. And then crushed it.
Yeah, I know.
My soul was
the little
crushed.
stick figures. Yeah. Like, oh, great. And then they're just like kind of fighting.
This drawing's horrible. This remainder gets a 1 rating.
The house is it's just like the 2 lots of rocks, like, and then the stick figures and 2 arms. Like, that's like, are you 2? Terrible.
His dad should just spit on it.
No. He should spend more time drawing, just like his father spends all his time hiding. Like if he spent half as much time drawing.
I like the little bike he had that was kind of like a chair. It was really weird.
With the horse.
Yeah, that's a cool bike. Just randomly go in the middle of the fight.
Mom says to not break it. If you keep fighting,
I'll pay.
And he never paid for it either.
I'll pay.
What a dick.
That was terrible.
He lied.
He's a horrible person, and he came back and he was still a horrible person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for that character, I think there was like a sense for like, I hope he just like helps everyone out in the end.
Yeah.
You know, and ends up being like cool and no.
But his fighting style changed after he saw like the guy being shot.
Yeah.
After he saw that, he then wasn't the reserve fighting, just defensive, and that he was then attacking.
Yeah. Those machine gun punches, dude, so quick. I was like,
Those were good.
That's so good. But it didn't hinder him too much. As in some movies, you might do the thing. It's this sort of whole made-up thing. You might do the thing of, oh, now he's attacking, so he's going to be losing more because of that, because he's changed up his style. He's not being reserved.
oh yeah.
As he should be. That would be the typical story arc thing. So they didn't really do that in this one, but
Because it was based on a true story.
yeah. But however, his battle was kind of with guns. That first time you see the gun with the stupid popo is
Yeah, he was
like, this is the age of guns. Why are you fighting? He's comes it out. It's like,
that's why.
that's why.
I mean,
And
like
then
at first too, he puts his
so he's
finger
got a
in the
revolver.
trigger and just is
Yeah.
holding it so he can't.
He's got a revolver and he does that. But the other guns where like he goes up to him like, you're not gonna be able to do that. It doesn't have the barrel there. You can't slide it out. You're not gonna be able to do that to it. So that's the other thing where he's being threatened with guns. So he can still fight people and he's gonna win, but they have guns trained at him, and that's the fear that you're going for that time. Because if he wins, they're gonna kill him, and you know.
Going back to guns, I like how at the very end it says that the Japanese surrendered and the Chinese won. I was like, there's a little more to that story than just the Japanese surrendering and the Chinese being victorious.
There's a lot more to it.
They cut out a few.
It's a continuing.
Well, history is written by men who
hang out where.
You know, the inner circle.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a Braveheart quote.
Oh, was it?
It's cool.
Speaking of, it's like, no, Braveheart's great. Now that is
Finally!
That's a movie that was based on, based on truth. That was
We're not
awesome.
discussing Braveheart here.
I know, but that was a movie that was based on truth. That was awesome. This one just got a little bit corny. Like
That's actually on
Chinese-
Instant Watch too.
Braveheart is?
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's do some cooking.
I'll be Wilson. And you be Tilda.
God, that was such a cool.
Oh, he'll be Al Borland. So you're Tilda Taylor.
Got him up on a skill time. We're going to do home improvement tangent now.
Oh, my
Look
bad.
what you've done.
But he could be like, he has the plaid and then he has the beard. Wait, yeah.
It reminded me of one of those like tangents from Drunken Debates.
Talk about it, man. Well, let's talk about Braveheart. No, let's talk about Tool Time.
That's how I was in my drink. I go on like crazy tangents.
uh,
I was hoping at the end also, I was hoping to see a lot more blood on, the Japanese people dying. It was just like they were pushing.
yeah. Oh, yeah. They didn't have much blood because there was blood throughout in other fights.
Yeah.
And
But
the
you
blood
like,
was not
but did you like the ending though, in general?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was kind of silly to have, like 10 Japanese people with guns and just being surrounded by hundreds of
Well,
Chinese.
that's one of the
pissed
things that
off.
you look at in just the concept of a war between Japan and China is, if you look at it just as sheer numbers, if I were Japan, I would look at China at numbers, and if you were just saying, I'm going to stay over here on this little island, because if they did train everyone the same way as he was training that factory, which, when he was training the factory, they didn't really...
They didn't really do much. Like,
They
did
did
the
was
same thing.
they did enough to keep the Japanese occupied until Ip Man should come through and hit them all.
Yeah.
So it just keeps them busy until Ip Man can come through and destroy them. Where wasn't the Japanese in that one? It was the out of towner.
Chinese.
Jerk.
Ocean.
But still, it's that thing of just the numbers thing. So in that small thing with only having the 10 Japanese guards surrounded by the mob of people, that seems representative to me. Where those guards are trained, they have weapons, so they have the advantage in their skill and their technology. But the other ones are just the mass of people, and when they see the Ip Man being shot after having won the fight. Their outrage strengthens them, and in their numbers, they're able to take.
I was hoping to see them beating the crap out of them.
Yeah,
Like, they were still kind of fighting over the weapon at the very end, and I was like,
I don't think for the action sense it would have been interesting, or because they already show the Chinese being beaten bloody. But I think that the power of that scene is just in the pure they're taking they're retaliating, they're uprising, and it's the emotion behind that more than the blood.
Yeah, I felt that
when they won the war.
I felt that all the way. It was like right when he got shot, and I was just like, I remember the first time I saw it, right when he got shot, I went, "Oh shit!
Yeah,
they just did the wrong
stupid move to do that."
Oh shit!
Yeah, in that crowd. If they had been fighting in Japan with the Japanese crowd around them, and you shoot, that's one thing. But with the Chinese crowd around them, that was dumb. That was stupid. Yeah.
And it was nice, though. It was also nice that the other guy, the translator, got to redeem himself, kind of.
Yeah. He was being a jerk the whole time, and he's like switching the words that he's saying, and I got really bad for him. I'm like, when he said, asking him his name, and he said, "I'm just a Chinaman." Like,
that kind of killed it for me. I was like,
I like his, because his line was so powerful. It was like, this is just any random Chinese person. This is what you're fighting against. I'm just an average Chinese citizen, and that was great. And then he's like, "No, he's it." And he's like, "No, don't." He's like, "No, he's Superman. This guy's Superman. He's not." It's like Superman going, "I'm just a regular Earth. Like you're gonna have to fight all of us like this." And he's like, "No, it's Superman. No, if you beat this one, you just kill him. All of us can't stand a chance against you guys." Yeah. So like he's defeating that, but it is he's saving it, man, in the sense that his cockiness would get him shot.
Yeah.
But at the other side,
especially at the end, I mean, he would have for sure been killed.
Oh yeah. Like he's saving him, but still, it's like they don't get to hear his great lines.
Yeah. He'll think about it, but he wants to fight you first. And he's like, "F you, man! I'm gonna kill you."
What, son?
I'm gonna get you pregnant.
I don't know Japanese. What?
And you know what? It all sounded the same to me. They all look the same, all sound the same.
Some of it I was trying to see, like, when the out-of-towner guy, when the out-of-towner guy came back in, I kept thinking, like, I think that's the same guy as before, and it would make sense story-wise if that's the same man as before.
Jesus Christ.
But I'm not 100% sure. So I think
all the little kids when they were playing with their fake guns.
Yeah, like sometimes I'm not exactly sure. Like, is that supposed to be the same person as we saw before? Because it makes sense, but I don't want to
be racist.
No, because
I thought these were all different. Characters were all.
They were. But at first I was thinking, I'm like, I don't want to assume that they're the same people. I liked when they wore different clothing.
I saw a lot of twins and triplets, that's all I'm saying.
I am from a different region of the world, where I don't experience as many of the varieties in there in my eyes, and I was trained to see the nuances.
I guess I've been in like third world countries and shit,
so I can tell it takes, I have to see them more often. So the more times they get, the more screen time they get, the more I can tell them apart. The less screen time they get, when they just show up.
It's gonna be red.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Totally.
This is going to be a Home Improvement. We're talking about movies here.
I was just looking at it, I was imagining it going red. I couldn't help it. Well, you're just laughing at
Yeah, I'm just laughing at you.
Oh my god.
So you guys were being racist. I was trying to go up and
I wasn't being racist. I was trying to say that they look.
Real quick,
like,
I wanted to point something out that after I got done watching it, the suggestions for me to watch now were Hell on Wheels, which is kind of understandable. Clueless was the first one that popped up.
That's pretty much the same thing.
And Bob the Builder.
I'm
Big
thinking
Dino Dig.
I don't know. I'm thinking your suggestions to watch now. Is that the autoplay afterwards thing?
Yeah.
I think that's more based on your general selections than because you watch this.
Yeah, general selections, and now because you watch this, knowing
the what do you want to watch next?
No, but when I watch other movies, there's a lot of similar movies that pop up after.
That specific thing of the what do you want to watch next thing is more based on things that are in your queue than this. It's a separate feature that's the because you like this.
Yeah, there's two.
That's a separate thing. That's an autoplay feature. They're not going to autoplay you something similar. So I hate to shit on your point there, but you're right.
Clueless, however, is a great film.
I just don't see the connection between Clueless. Although
Bob the Builder.
Yeah, well, that's obvious. But
Well, you haven't seen this episode. I mean, there's a lot of killing of Japanese and Chinese in it, so. It's a little different.
Is that like the TV show Clueless, or is that the movie?
Oh no, that's horrible. The movie was good. The TV show was horseshit.
We should. Is your next choice Clueless? I'm pretty sure.
Wait a second. I love Josh.
So,
Ding. It's a good movie.
so our last, looking at our last films, we had Trailer Park Boys,
Yeah.
which made millions of dollars.
Million.
Yes, almost $3 million of dollars.
Almost.
Our last film made.
700,000.
Yeah, it was like $700,000. This one, finally we get one that has at least, double digits in there. $21 million with a budget of $11 million.
Yeah.
So,
Profit of 10 million.
it did well.
And that's because, I'm sure it's mostly Chinese dollars. Because
Yeah,
release a
really.
movie like this, everybody's gonna want to see. No,
That's
it's
a lot
true.
of China. No, hold on. This is U.S. dollars. I don't know if that's U.S. box office though.
It's just funny. I'm sorry.
That's interesting because, well, here's the thing. In the international box office, if it weren't for the poor copyright laws in China and so much piracy in China for movies, if you had just gotten $1 from every Chinese citizen to see this movie, if it was so great to film there.
It'd be like over $1 million for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they have thousands of people that live in China. Literally thousands. It was in Cantonese, Mandarin, and Japanese, the entire film. So, it did mix a few of those in there, which makes sense. Yeah, once we got into Japanese, I recognized some more words.
I know that would.
Wilson Ip. Let's find out more about him. Wilson Ip.
Yeah, so what would you rate it?
I would have given it a 3.5.
Yeah.
And then I just gave it a 3 just because I'm not too big on Kung Fu movies.
Yeah.
But that way for my rating system later on. But yeah, 3.5.
That's good. That's good.
There's a lot of cool. There's a lot of cool action scenes, and yeah.
Yeah. And you, sir? Would you?
I would have wanted to give it a 4.5.
Yeah. I would want to give this a 4.5. It recommended it to me a 4.
It recommended me a 5.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was surprised.
I think that's
I
like
didn't
the
like it
standard
much.
rating there too. It was like 5 on this one. They
Oh, yeah.
really like pushing this one. I going in I wouldn't have thought that, but after seeing it, I really liked it. So I think 4.5. So I don't know if I'm gonna rate it a 4 or 5.
It meant
Two
too.
choices.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, they made a sequel.
Yeah.
Trains Bruce.
Google autocomplete did for Ip Man 3. So is
There's
this Yip
there's a
related?
bunch of movies on Yip Man.
Is he related at all to him? It doesn't say. Maybe multiple people in China have the same name.
Yeah,
Look up Yip Man.
Oh yeah, that was up there.
is Man a popular last name? Like Han?
Well, the other one had the name Yip, which is the
Yes, this is the actual photo they use in the movie too.
yeah.
Yeah, he looks corny, huh? He looks like he couldn't be.
He's also known
anybody
as
else.
Yip Kai Man.
He beat the shit out of us.
Yeah, I know.
He beat the fucking shit out of us.
Let's see.
Wing Chun, that's the martial art.
Yeah, Wang Chun.
Isn't she a famous singer?
Students.
Wing.
Son.
Son. Ip Chun. Yeah. So no.
And Ip Ching.
Yeah. That wasn't any of them.
But the notable son is Ip Chun. Maybe it's the son of the son.
I don't think so. And then you'd have to go through each of the sons. It would have said
1924,
something on
that
his
would have been
page.
some old
It would have said
person.
something on his page, though, I think. And, yeah. Anyway.
Probably
So,
would have. Just
anything
checking.
else on Yip Man?
No, I just thought I liked it.
I was good. I was very I was surprised with it. I knew I wanted to watch it, but I was pleased at where it went in the story.
I was waiting for the family to die, but I guess since it's a true story, they couldn't do that. I thought the wife and the son were gonna die for sure.
So the son that
Yeah, the way that the movie was like going,
Yeah, I was waiting for them to die, and then
it was just like it
yeah.
totally feels like they're gonna die or
It
something
didn't
terrible is
happen.
gonna happen to
Yeah.
them or something. Yeah.
So-
and then that's what's gonna piss them
Yeah,
off.
that's
If
what I
Chun-
meant.
That's
Yeah.
what's gonna push them to do it. Yeah.
so Ip Chun was the son in the movie.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was the firstborn son. Yeah. Or they just fabricated the entire thing. So wait,
I'm sure they figured.
what year did the movie take place in?
Second Sino-Japanese War.
48?
It was whenever the second
I know they're talking about 49.
Sino-Japanese War was, and since it was like kind of just happened in the film, like just started, I think.
Yeah.
If you look up Sino-Japanese War, second Sino-Japanese War.
He was born in 1924, 1937. So the kid was 13 at the beginning of that.
No.
So no. So I'm saying that drawing should have been a lot better.
Yep, in the real story, in the documentary, it was a gorgeous
That
drawing.
kid must be like midget.
That's why it didn't make sense.
Yeah, and he is a midget, but that's no excuse for his bad drawing.
When was the first Sino-Japanese War?
Even if, because that scene could have taken place a few years before that.
Yeah.
Either way, the kid's older than 10. He has to be able to draw better than that.
Yeah.
All I'm saying.
That's what I took away from it.
Is that terrible drawing?
What happened in 25?
Yeah, 24 is when the son was born. The first son was born. And then like 35, the second son was born. And I don't think he was
So I guess they fabricated
2.
that.
They completely fabricated that because he had 2 sons at the time.
They probably made this son younger to make it like more of a
Yeah.
They averaged the 2 ages.
I don't believe
Because
any of
his
this.
youngest son, his younger son was born 2 years before the start of war.
It's full of shit.
No!
Mel Gibson wasn't even there at the time.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy?
I don't believe it.
All right, what's your movie?
Yeah, what's your movie?
Okay.
Give us a picture.
Poop.
So,
Thank you.
the next movie is going to be from 2011, from
I hated that movie.
the mind of Bobcat Goldthwait.
Uh,
God bless America!
Oh, I've seen the preview for that.
you see the preview for it?
Yeah.
Fun. I saw it in theaters.
In theaters? I didn't
Yeah.
know it was in theaters.
It was. He toured it and he did a Q&A afterwards.
Oh,
I saw it actually
lucky.
at the New Beverly at Tarantino's.
I watched it when it first came out, and I like did the whole ordering on.
Well,
video.
we'll talk about this next week.
Interesting.
God bless America with special.
I
guest-
love this movie, by the way, so I probably hate it.
Quit saying. No pre-telling. Now he's gonna go
Duly
in.
noted.
I'm not gonna put a movie on that I hated.
Watch shitty
Well,
movie.
you could. You could be like, "This is a terrible movie. Let's see if people will like it." Yeah, we'll have special guest Bobcat Goldthwait will be with us next week to discuss this. So tune in for that to see Bobcat Goldthwait sitting.
Movie
here.
I'll hate.
Yep. I want to see him. You can tell it to his face. All right.
Although I got a what out of you? A 3.5 out of you this time? 4?
I really gotta work hard trying to see if I can get a guest for next week. We'll see.
I think you said you're getting Bobcat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aside from Bobcat.
Ah, another guess.
Yes.
Besides Bobcat, one of your buddies.
Yes. I will either have Bobcat Goldthwait or a live Bobcat.
Yes, 7.5.
We're working on one of those.
No.
I don't think so.
Or a cougar.
Maybe. Well, we could. Anyway,
Thanks,
thank you all for watching and listening. Rate and review us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How about we get a cougar down here? Yeah.
It's good. What is that called, Archer? I think
What?
that animal.
What?
Ocelot.
Oh, yes.
Ocelots.